What's good, gang? This is Uzi. Just showing you how I made this beat. It's pirate style, Spanish guitars, with the flutes. Let me show you my process. So we're gonna start with the melody first. Alright, so first we got the guitar. Alright, you get the point. So the key takeaway, I kept it simple. It was all 1/3 step. Triplets over here, all 1/3 step. Now the counter melody I dropped on there, I just went within the scale, so it's in D sharp, so went within the scale or whatnot. You hear little dittos right here, because with Spanish guitars you want to add like a little riff. Like right here you hear the riff. Just the transition over to the next note. So little things like that is what make it more realistic. Besides the alt R to randomize your notes, whatnot, and sound like a real guitar. The other trick I did, okay, we got two guitars. I got this pattern and I got this pattern, but I pan both of those 25% right and 25% left to give it a more stereo feel. Alright, next we got the pad. Now all I did was just layer the same chords, the same triplet chords, and took out the counter melody. So let's listen what that sound like. So same exact thing, only difference is with the second half of it took it up an octave. Next we got the tremolo strings from the legendary TV One Shot Instruments, the digital instruments, the second one he dropped. So listen to this. Alright, just a little thing in the background. Then next up I added the piano. Now this is a stock plugin that I got from Flex. Hear what this sound like. Did the same exact thing with the bass. Only difference is it got this slide note and then it got this slide note. So let's hear how catchy this sounds. So only way to do slides, you just double click this note right here and then you click on the slide option. And then the trick to make this slide more smoother, the bottom note, I took the velocity all the way down to 0. And then for the slide note, it just has a reverse slide. And for down here, I just turn the slide down to make it transition over to give it this sound. Like it's sliding down, give it that transition. Alright, Next up, we got this. I can't even describe it. The analog shot. The analog shot. You know, it's pretty much kind of like an ambient sound, an ambient pad sound. That's a higher pad on top of the pad that I already added, which makes it more fuller in terms of frequency. And it's only doing those two things. Now here's the main sauce. This is the moment you all been waiting for. But before we get to that, just gotta show you this texture. Isn't nature wonderful? It's just the sound of nature. And now, without further ado, this is the main sauce right here. This is what make this Pyrex all the way. It's the flute. Listen. Alright, for my guitars, I had the Fruity Pyrex EQ, took out some of the lows, and some of the highs, just very little. Reverb, I put the venue preset on there, the venue, to make it more wide and make it more wet. They like a little wetness. Next up, got the delay, got the ping pong preset on there, the stereo effect preset. And then of course I got a ping pong, that way it just bounce from one ear to the other. But very subtle to where it's not doing too much. Last but not least, it wouldn't be complete without the RT20. Took down the noise, put it on radio, took down a little wobble, added a little distort, a little space to give it more ambience, and that's pretty much it for that. Alright, the pad, Pyrex EQ. Put a little halftime, but 14% mix, so you can barely hear it. You can hear a little taste of the lower pad, as well as majority of the higher pad to make it more full. The Flux Mini, when you heard that chopping sound in the pad, that make it sound like it's on Fruity Slicer, that's what this is. And I put it on fake chain, just a side chain for that. Then the pancake, to make it pan from one end to the next. But 1 bar, 33% made it real soda. Alright, for the tremolo strings, reverb, stereo enhancer to make it more stereo, piano, Pyrex EQ, and reverb. For the re-space, reverb, but the only difference is I put it on the drum roll preset because it already has reverb on it, but you don't need too much. Don't need to add too much to it. And then the pancake, and then I did a slow pan for this one. And then very subtle. For the nature sound, the texture from the Candice one shot from Producer Ron, reverb, stereo enhancement to make it more sound like a theater, if that make any sense. Alright, the pad sound, reverb EQ. Save the best for last. The flute, Pyrex EQ, took out some of the harsh frequencies, add ambience to it to make it sound more like it's in the theater, more like surround sound, because it's the main solo of the melody, the main sauce of it. A compressor, because the flute was, louder in some parts and then softer in some parts, and it wasn't like more evened out. But I made the compressor more subtle, so it can still sound realistic and not robotic. But the higher frequencies or the higher volumes don't sound too much. And then last but not least, I'll put it slightly in the background with the legendary low filter. And there you have it. Alright. So I exported the whole loop, consolidated the whole loop after I got done with it. And then here's what I'm thinking about as far as drum mounts. And then I turned it down a semitone, turned it down 100 cents, and I sped it up to 124. And here's what the beat sounds like.
Uzi sauteed the beat.